fact of the matter is, you can turn on a television and find out news about just about anything. If you want to keep up on the latest sports plays, or find out what wacky America is doing this week. However, when it comes to science and technology, our society is lacking. Sure, it's easy if you know what a SCSI port is, or you think of a bus as something other than a slow mode of transportation to school in the morning. But what about the rest of us? That's where I come in. My name is Stephen Harrison, and this is Not Technology. Australia, famous for its beaches, completely dedicated to the idea of men and women looking incredible while standing next to a body of water. There is, however, a rather large case of tourists getting into trouble while actually daring to get themselves wet. In steps the Swumanoid, a human-like swimming robot designed at the Tokyo University of Technology, which could one day be used to save such visitors who think water is for getting into. The Swumanoid was developed by building it around the physique of a human swimmer using 3D scanning technology. This allowed to reproduce the swimming motion of humans while replacing bones and muscles with metal and electricity, two things that go well with water in life and death situations. Not quite ready for the prime time, the Swumanoid can only swim in a lacking 0.64 meters per second, about a third as quick as a 100-meter world record pace. So instead of being used for lifeguards' duties yet, there's another purpose. The Swumanoid could be used to help train Olympic swimmers as the most efficient way to move through the water. Since it's essentially a robot, lacking in feelings or a need to rest, those studying with the device can observe the exact same movements through the water each and every time, and see how each small change can affect a swimmer's stroke, without having to deal with human error. This hasn't stopped the crazy Aussies from seeing it as a relief from dealing with foreigners who have decided to dare the shark-infested water. Surf Life Saving Australia's CEO, Brett Williamson, said, "The Swumanoid could one day be seen punching water mammals in the nose while effortlessly repeating from a muffled speaker, 'Do not be afraid, I am here to save you.'" Actually, I made that last bit up, but it's how I would imagine it. When someone thinks of military from any international power, one can instantly imagine the giant powerhouse of weaponry protecting us from unknown dangers that lurk everywhere. It's no wonder why we can imagine the easy $26.7 billion put into Australia's defence. However, ask someone what came of the $15.9 billion that went into research and development in 2011, and the fact of the matter is I don't know. The only times I see a breakthrough in research and development is when I have to purchase a new phone or a new toothbrush. Even when the money put towards more sciencey stuff ever comes to something, chances are it'll end up being published in a paper that only scientists will read or understand. However, it's part of a bigger process. Those papers can actually contribute to something other than a wider smile. Yuri Milner, a tech investor and billionaire, has suddenly decided to give out 9 $3 million prizes to theoretical physicists working on subjects ranging from string theory to things I've never heard of but probably would live in a very different world without. Part of the award is that the recipients will be encouraged to present public speeches on their work. Then, that's it. Money for the sake that science can be done. In fact, he even has plans to continue the process, with previous winners selecting the next group to receive the funds. Even 3 junior researchers have the chance to win $1,000 each. Yuri definitely has the right attitude towards this personal spending as well. He was quoted telling Nature that, "My intention was to say that science is as important as a shares rating on Wall Street. One can only really imagine that if this pulls off, maybe it could be seen as a fashionable way for rich people to spend money, other than to buy children from distant countries who have similar eating habits." If you haven't heard, China has its own space station. As much as I thought that the American media would be all over this one, and it might be my position on the other side of the world, but this seems to have come and gone without raising anybody's hair. So I wonder if this little bit of news should come with as little enthusiasm as the rest. Along with securing a little bubble of atmosphere to call its own, China has decided to send a rover and lander to the moon by the end of the year. Apart from pushing over any American flags that might still be left standing, it's seen as a stepping stone, a rite of passage. Even the Soviets were able to get some autonomous devices up there, and look how they're doing now! Along with obvious rockets and separating stages that come with such an undertaking, the business side of things will come with two parts: a lander and a rover. The 260-pound, six-wheeled vehicle will be able to carry 44 pounds of payload, as well as run a real-time streaming video camera with the entire thing powered by a thermal electric generator, allowing everything to operate for 3 months. There's even a nice telescope on there to become the world's first lunar observatory. That thought doesn't bother me at all. In fact, I find it exciting to find out what's going to come from such an opportune observation spot. With a planned launch period somewhere in the second half of 2013, there's already ideas of follow-up missions in 2016 or 2017, with a return mission and potentially a manned one. When imagining insects that consider suicide as a realistic form of defense, the first to come to mind is bees. Unlike wasps, a bee stinger being released from its hind end usually means a horrible conclusion, as it can no longer defend itself. But an idea usually reserved for humans has turned up in nature: suicide bombing. However, instead of strapping a couple pounds of explosives to its back, there's a type of termite that uses a mixture of chemicals. Here's the neat part. When scientists first discovered this termite in French Guiana, they were surprised to find that some individuals had pale blue spots on their abdomen. The real surprise came whenever they tried to pick them up. They exploded. This attitude seems to be shared by the entire family, but not all these termites have blue spots. By inspection and comparison, they found that older termites carried a higher concentration. Since their jaws are no longer sharp, and they aren't able to forage for food like they used to, the elders have built up a one last purpose to defend their colony against predators and rivals. While the non-spotted and younger termites still carry the ability to explode, they're much more reluctant to do so, as they haven't had enough time to build up much of that toxic chemical, and therefore do much less damage than the aged termites, who can quickly paralyze and kill any other termite it touched. In fact, liquid extracted from spotted workers was 5 times more effective than those from non-spotted. The spot appears to be crystals encased in pouches. When the pouch bursts, 2 chemicals, salvia and hemolymph, a liquid similar to blood, mixed to create the toxic liquid. However, exactly what chemistry takes place is unknown. Self-detonation is known as a defensive tool to be used by other insects, but it's never been seen to be accompanied by this type of chemistry. Most of the time they just empty their bowels. This just normally disturbs their attacker rather than killing them. In other news, if you're willing to do some reading, turning on the lights could help you set your smartphone's time if you're not happy with the way it works now. Scientists spend more time arguing over proving you can get something from nothing, a personal breakthrough I'm rooting for. And self-conscious tech nerds have come up with a way at avoiding having to go to a massage parlor and get touched up by a man. That's all for this episode. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, please subscribe, rate, comment, whatever other pleasures come from the internet. My name is Stephen Harrison, and this has been Not Technology.